Hello, everyone, and welcome to the North Shore 9 podcast brought to you by FanDuel. This is the NS9 postgame show powered by Permani Brothers. My name is Nathan. Along beside me is Doug. And Doug, this road trip absolutely stunk.
Yeah. I mean, this team, we thought they'd have reasons to be motivated, right? You're going to go play Cincinnati. You have an opportunity, right, to gain some ground. They're supposedly a bad team, and they take 3 or 4 from you. You acquire all these relievers. You redo the bullpen more than any of us expected. You thought that would breathe some life into this team. And no, nothing, nobody, no signs of life, no pulse, no energy. Just they look flat. They look disengaged. They look uninterested. Yeah, it's a disappointment. This is, yeah, even when they were collapsing with the 10-game losing streak at 24, it seemed like they were fighting. It was just, like bullpen implosions and stuff like that. This is just a whole team effort of nothing. Runners picked off first base, runners thrown out at third base, all very reminiscent of last year. The pitching, the offense giving nothing, the pitching not able to keep it under, it's hard to keep it under 2 runs. So, and there's just nothing. So we acquired these guys at the deadline, and hey, this bullpen looks better. They just don't have leads to protect.
Yeah, like people are like, why are we even trading for Weaver? They yet to use Luke Weaver because there's yet to be a single opportunity because the Pirates offense in this second half, Doug, I'll just put it simply, they've fallen asleep. They have. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
People were comparing them to the Lumber Company 2.0, and I've seen comments comparing them to Lincoln Logs now. That is what they have turned into. And it is really bad to watch. And it's not just Esmeralyn Valdez. And here's the thing with Valdez. He didn't even play today. You could argue that this offense was being absolutely carried by Esmeralyn Valdez during that hot streak he was on last month. Now that he's struggling, I feel like this offense has been exposed. And Doug, you want to read this super track from
I sure do. Michael B., our benefactor. Hi, Doug. I told you, my friend, the season is over. Yes, you did. Little League base running, poor fundamentals. This is on Don Kelly, awful manager, back in last place now. Again, Michael, I say this to nearly every one of your super chats. I can't argue. I could say it's probably not all Don Kelly's fault, but you're right. I mean, it's bad base. It's all that fundamental stuff, all the stuff a small market team has to do, all the stuff a team, we have to win in the margins. And, Ben Sherrington doesn't pay attention to the margins, and apparently nobody else in the organization does everywhere. We're not a fundamentally sound team. And for this team to win, they have to be fundamentally sound. But we give away outs on the base pass. We give extra runners, when we're in the field. They're awful, and everybody should be held accountable, right? Don Kelly, he's got a target square on his back. Sherrington does. But I don't think any of it matters. I don't think there'll be any change. They're going to tell you that they did everything the way they were supposed to. They had a little bad luck with the bullpen early on, but that it was injuries that derailed the season. And that will be enough reason for, Bob nutting, Mr. I don't have a pulse. I don't have a competitive bone in my body. I don't hold people accountable. And I do know that I don't give them enough to win, contrary to what I say every once in a while when I pop my head out of my hole. Yeah, Michael, absolutely right. Yep. Can't argue.
I completely agree with you and Michael B there. I've been saying in the Discord, everyone who watches know I'm a doomer in the Discord. But my theory about this team is...
Yeah, you're way too young to be this bitter.
Yeah, this team is destined at anything at most for a 500 record, and they're going to use the injury excuse at the end of the year. Like you just said,
oh, yeah.
They are going to use the injury excuse. But as Michael B also brought back up in that end of his super chat, they're back in last place. They're now 57-60. They're going to be a half a game back of Cincinnati, and which is crazy that the Pirates basically let the Reds pass them up because the Reds embarrassed them at the beginning of this road trip, and those games were already talked about. And let's just try to. I'm going to try to stick the most we can with today's game, but they didn't give much to talk about. The offense again, 6 hits. You should have had an error there. I'm surprised they didn't give Nick Gonzales an error at third base.
That should have been an error, right? That's an error.
Listening on the radio on my way home from work, and they're like, it's a hit for now. It was like Greg Brown said on the TV broadcast, it's a hit for now, but I wouldn't be shocked if they're going to change that. I was rewatching the play, and I was like, how are you not making that play? It's a ground out the third base.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's frustrating.
It really is, because again, these are things that frustrate you when you're watching. If I go to watch Tyler's high school team play and his third baseman doesn't make that play, I'm like, look, buddy, you got to coach that kid up. He's got to make that play. And we've got Nick Gonzales not routinely not making that play. He doesn't make the routine play. He routinely doesn't make the play is the proper verbiage for him. And again, it's just nobody seems the least bit concerned over there. Right? There's, nobody. Let's get back to it with Michael B. Sorry. I know I'm a glass half empty type guy, but I wasn't jumping up and down with BC's trade moves. Why? It was too late. The time to trade was in June. Again, I was saying that on this show many times, as were many others. I wasn't, spouting anything original. I was complaining in May when they're saying nobody makes trades now and that sort of stuff. If you would have, you got Luke Weaver for Sammy Satfora. If you would have sweetened out a little, I think you could have got that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, or similar type trades. I don't. I know teams. They want to wait to the deadline as much as possible so they can cash in on desperation and that sort of thing. So to circumvent that, you offer a little more now, make the trade now. And Luke Weaver would have been a good guy to acquire. He's got we'd have him for next year. So it's not like it's a rental. And I like the moves, but I agree. It sure would have been nice to see just one of them maybe, or two of, one in June, one in July, that sort of thing, sort of stanch the bleeding. And they don't do that. Ben Cherington doesn't have a pulse. He trusts his process. He's analytically driven. And, one of advanced analytics' favorite things to do is blame bad luck. When all of their numbers are right, but they don't get the results, they say, we just ran into a little bad luck. And Ben's on record saying that. We were a little unlucky with the bullpen. I think you were woefully unprepared with the bullpen. And you had bad luck, right? We all thought Dennis Santana was going to be good this year. I don't blame him for that. But I was saying last season, spring, I'm not sure that Isaac Matzkin can repeat what he did last year. And guess what? He couldn't. So if I could see it, and I'm as much an idiot as anybody, a guy paying millions of dollars should have at least considered it as a possibility and had an option somewhere, somehow, some way. And it did not. So yeah, here we are. It's but I still don't understand why this team seems to be mailing it in, right? The moves, the opportunity in front of them should be enough to get any human excited. You know what I'm saying? And they just look like they've checked out. And I know baseball, even keel, playing one game at a time, all that stuff, but man, they all just look bored. They all look like they're ready to go home.
Exactly. And to bring up that point again, you brought up like people were bringing up why not trade for Luke Weaver earlier. If not a Luke Weaver, you could have probably got Kirby Yates a couple months ago or Lake Blocker a couple months ago. Those were guys that, Kirby Yates mainly was a guy traded for nothing. He was traded for Alika Williams practically, Doug. It's like you could have got him at least instead of like a Ron Marinaccio.
It sure seems to me like you could have got him for what you did and then throw in some sort of, high ceiling prospect down there, in the complex league or something, right? Something that, hey, maybe it gets you. Maybe 5 years from now we're saying, oh wow, O'Neal Cruz for Tony, that sort of thing. But the Pirates don't have an opportunity to win every year, and when they have one, they should jump on it, and they should grab it by the throat, and they haven't. They're as always. Trusting their processes, business as usual, that sort of thing. And, again, from a fan, for people that have passion for this team, who live and die with this team, it's very frustrating. More Michael B. We should have put him in as a co-host. If the Pirates were a serious organization, Bill Murphy would have been given his walking papers already. There is no coincidence every pitcher is worse. Again, hard to argue with. This one, I say, and Michael, we've had this exchange before. Matt Haig, we all wanted to run him out of town last year. If you got, I'm supposing you have to give him a year, but yeah, it's very damning that every pitcher on the team, including the greatest pitcher many of us had ever seen, have taken huge steps backwards. The only person that did take a step backward is Braxton Ashcraft, and all he did was sort of stay the same. It's not like, Billy Murphy said, "Hey man, if you just stand 1 inch over on here, you're going to get." Exactly. No, he didn't. He hasn't done anything to help him either.
Yeah, and I was bringing up earlier before all the super chats from Michael B. So thank you, Michael B.
Yeah.
I brought up about how this offense has been struggling. I've seen a couple comments so far, and I completely agree with everyone. And I was bringing up the fact that Valdez did not play today, and he's been slumping. And it was a due day off for Esmeralyn Valdez. But I brought up the point before the super chats started coming in about how he was carrying this offense basically all by himself. He basically swept the Brewers all by himself.
Yeah, he was the July offense, right?
Yeah, exactly. And ever since the Cleveland road trip, I could just watching it up in the press box in Cleveland, guys like Brian Reynolds slumping 0 for 3 again today, scored a run, but struck out 3 times, walked once. Of course, Horwitz, he's coming off the IL. I'm not as angry with how Horwitz has been playing because he has to catch back up to pitching. Brandon Lowe, that last strikeout was horrendous in the dirt. There's been a lot of that this year. Jake Mangum, a hit today. He's coming back down to earth, I would say. He's now down to a 298 batting average. Endy Rodriguez in the cleanup spot today, had the hit but struck out twice. This team strikes out way too much, I think, for all of our likings. 9 strikeouts today. Sure. We saw it last night. I think it was like 8 or 9 strikeouts in a row. This is hurting. It's hurting the team. The offense is incapable of getting a sort of a rally now because it's just 1, 2, 3. Here comes 3 strikeouts in a row. 1, 2, 3. Here's a ground out, base hit, and then a double play. We saw that in the 9th inning from Ronnie Simon.
Ronnie Simon, leading hitter in the International League. Reminds me of when we got Hoy Park, who was the leading hitter in the International League at that time. This is what happens. Guys that spend a lot of time at the minors can do well in AAA. That more often than not, they're not going to do well at Major League Baseball level. It's very reminiscent of last year. Team looked checked out. Nobody can hit. We're striking out like crazy. We're getting thrown out. Like Endy does get a hit. He gets thrown out at third. Again, I love his fire and enthusiasm, but you've got to funnel that into the right directions. And it's not been good. And the thing is right. It's hard to believe it's going to get any better, right?
Yeah.
Baseball is a funny game. They could wake up tomorrow and it's funny. We got the Mets coming to town. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. They've sold a bunch of players off, but none of us are saying, "Oh, the Mets are coming. We could take this series." And that's a very Piratey fan thing to do. Yeah. We're like, "Oh gosh, here come the Reds. We got it made. We're going to take 3 out of 4. We might even sweep them." And no, now the Mets are coming down, and now we're like, "Oh God, we're afraid of the Mets." So
yep. And it brings up Who is Brian says the Mets scored 13 today. Yeah, they're coming to PNC Park right after this.
And we haven't scored 13 all week.
It's been a while since they've gotten to double digits.
In the total for the week, runs scored for the week.
Exactly. And the way this offense has been playing, Doug, I don't know the next time we'll see a game like that. But I guess let's just get into more of the game. Since we've been ranting about the offense, let's shift gears. Let's go to the pitching side. Braxton Ashcraft, I wouldn't call it great after his last outing in Cincinnati. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 2 homers. The solo home runs kill Braxton Ashcraft.
Yeah.
And they said, I was listening to, I had the TV broadcast on at work. I'm such a great employee. But I'm listening to what Matt Capps said after the first home run by Jackson Chourio, basically saying solo home runs aren't going to kill you. For some reason with this Pirates pitching staff, I don't know if it's just me, Doug, I think solo home runs do kill this team. They start rallies for the other. It's just any home run is going to kill you.
It sure seems that way in the Paul Skeens and Braxton Ashcraft starts. Right?
Jared Jones too.
Jared Jones. We don't have margin for error. This team's not that good. Solo home runs don't hurt Greg Maddux. They don't hurt Randy Johnson. They didn't hurt Paul Skeens last year. But if you're giving up hits and you're giving up walks and that sort of thing, a solo home run is going to get you. And, obviously you have opportunities for that to be, 2 and 3 run homers, that sort of thing. But also, right, you're throwing more pitches, you're tiring out faster. You're losing your edge and your control a little bit sooner. And next, you give up a solo home run and the next guy hits a double. So, it's like, well, the double didn't kill you either, but till the next guy hits a single, you walk the next guy. Nick Gonzales does not field the next thing, that sort of thing. again, this team does not have room. They can't be comfortable. We can't shrug our shoulders and say, "Oh, that's fine."
Yep.
It's just a 2-out solo home run. It's not. It's not that bad.
It's the moving of the goalposts, basically. It was only a solo home run. Well, then what happens later in the game? We'll get to the fifth inning it was, but let's just go through Ashcraft really quick, inning by inning. After that solo home run that was nuked by Churio, Mangum misses it, and I forget who posted on Twitter the exact same shot of Michael A. Taylor robbing that home run in the same spot in Milwaukee. Mangum misses it. It's 1-0, is what it is. But then Ashcraft bounces back, strikes out Garrett Mitchell and Andrew Vaughn, and immediately you're like, okay, he turned it around. He got out of the inning. You can't complain. Only allowed the one, and then you just had to hope and pray this Pirates offense can score. We go to the bottom of the second, ground out, strikeout, ground out. Ashcraft stays solid there. Bottom of the third, leadoff walk. This always comes back to bite the Pirates some way, shape, or form. David Hamilton would steal second base immediately. Wild pitch by Braxton Ashcraft moves Hamilton to third, and then Cooper Pratt, without the Brewers even having to get a hit in this inning, gets a sacrifice fly. Yeah. So leadoff walks are another team that hurts this pitching staff. We've seen it from Skeens. We saw it with Skeens last night. He escaped out of that first inning, but the first guy, he walked on 4 pitches.
Right.
Leadoff walks.
You can't keep playing with fire and not get burnt. And that's what this pitching staff has done for the better part of this year, right? I mean, Skeens and Mitch both had a great April, but it started pretty quickly going downhill after that. And, Ashcraft is sort of, very close to his innings limit. He's pitched more than he's ever pitched before. He's wearing down. It's ugly.
Yeah, so after that sacrifice fly, he gets the ground out, and another ground out gets out of the inning, only allows the sacrifice fly. You're only down 2-0. The Pirates offense would surge back, and I guess we can talk about this right now. Lowe homers, number 24. He makes it 2-1. Reynolds would walk his one time on base today. Endy singles. He's had an okay series, in my opinion, hitting-wise. Yeah. Horwitz singles, ties up the game. He's had some good RBI chances here in Milwaukee. He comes through here to tie it up. Nicky G and Ronnie Simon in the inning.
And Endy got thrown out at third.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
On the Horwitz. I don't know how much of a difference that would have made. Like I said, the other two guys came up, made quick outs, but I don't know. Maybe one would have advanced him to third. Maybe the next one knocks him in. I don't know what happens. But yeah, it's again bad baseball by the Pirates.
And you're making outs on the bases, and we'll get.
But Brandon Lowe, congratulations! Yep. He is now has the all-time mark for home runs for a Pirate second baseman, passing Neil Walker from a few years back, and also I think he hit the over on his home run total. That our Tyler and Donardo, Jim just says he presented. It was 22.5, whatever. He's surpassed it, I'm sure now. It was either 23 or 24. So they both missed that. So Jim has probably surged into the lead in their competition. Jim also thought under, but since he presented the question, it does not, he gets to not count.
Exactly. So, Doug, you like to say the Pirates pitching staff loves to give runs right back when they tie the game or take the lead. Ashcraft would stop this for an inning. Ground out, ground out, ground out. 3 straight outs there. Good stuff from Ashcraft. Top of the 5th, the Pirates offense does nothing to provide anything there from Jacob Gonzales, Henry Davis, and Jake Mangum. Bottom of the 5th, though, you get a strikeout on Lara, one of the Brewers rookies. And then Gary Sanchez hits an absolute nuke to left center field for his 9th of the year. He makes it 3-2. Again, another situation where you could say, does this solo home run kill you? As they've said on the broadcast, solo home runs don't kill you. That one did.
It was at least very, very painful.
That was the game-winning run. The game was over at that point.
That was the difference. It was over. That was it.
So
it would have been nice if we would have just agreed with that and just wrapped it all up and didn't have to watch the rest of it. But
end the game right there. So 3-2. Gary Sanchez homers off of Ashcraft, his second home run allowed today. David Hamilton strikes out. You bounce back after that. Cooper Pratt doubles. And then let's get to one of many Nick Gonzales mishaps today. Bryce Terang would single on a ball that gets past Nick Gonzalez' glove. I'm surprised this has not been changed to an error yet, Doug. The Brewers have 7 hits still.
I don't understand how it wasn't immediately ruled an error. It's very strange to me. I know they're softer and more gentler about this. They're giving everybody hits, but man, that was just an error. I didn't think it anything else.
Yeah, and I think was it you and Tyler bringing up this whole argument like these are errors. These are
Yeah,
costing.
yeah, it was Tyler
runs.
and I. Yeah,
These
yeah,
are costing them runs, and just like
right.
that, it is now 4-2 with an offense that was only able to put up 2 runs today, and lately they have not been hitting well. So
Yeah,
Ashcraft allows the four runs there. His day is done. We got to see Gregory Soto then come in. He allows a double to lead things off. Andrew Vaughn singles to give him a 5-2 to lead. And then Soto, being Soto, strikes out the next 2 guys, allows a single to Gary Sanchez, and strikes out David Hamilton. So the Gregory Soto experience is 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Then we go to the bottom of the 7th. You see Camilo Doval come in, allows a walk, but the inning ends on a caught stealing by Jackson Churio. So good stuff there by Doval to get out of it. And then lastly, Kirby Yates came in, got another appearance, second since the trade. He got 2 strikeouts in a clean inning. So good stuff from Kirby Yates today. I've been impressed by Kirby Yates. Honestly, I've been surprised by Kirby Yates. It's only been 2 outings. I know Angels fans were excited to have him off the team, but I think he was pitching in a lot higher leverage situations in Anaheim compared to what I think he's going to be doing in Pittsburgh. So I've liked what Kirby Yates has been doing. I wish
it's going to be mop up duty, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to be in high leverage situations because we're not going to have high leverage situations, right?
I wish we could have gotten to see Luke Weaver any of these games, but they haven't had the opportunity to use the guy. And poor Luke Weaver was probably like, wow, I got traded to a team that's hypothetically in the playoff race, and they've lost every game since they've all arrived. Yeah. And it's not even their fault.
No, right. They have not blown. They've been fine. They have done exactly what they're supposed to do. Keep the, turn it over. Keep good, clean innings going. That's what they've done. It just doesn't matter because our offense is just, hitless and witless.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny, Doug. I saw someone on Twitter say this. It's funny, once the second half started, the bullpens had their downs, but this bullpen has been surprisingly solid for the most part, besides a couple blow-ups. It's been okay. It's been the offense and the starting pitching now that has let this team down. Yeah. And the theme of the Pittsburgh Pirates, in my opinion, and I think all of our opinions, has always been they can't do everything right all at once. They're incapable of that. There's always something that goes wrong. It could be great pitching, but you have horrible defense and horrible hitting. It could be great offense, but everything else in the pitching side is not great. It could be your offense and your starters are great, but then your bullpen comes in and blows it, like we've seen this year, the bullpen side of things. They got to figure things out.
The Pirates are a great team, right? They pick each other up with the bad. It's like, hey, you got yesterday's loss starting pitching. Don't worry. Us guys in the bullpen got it today. And then the offense will get it tomorrow. And the defense will get it the day after. I mean, it's part of being a small market team. It's part of a team that's not aggressive, who doesn't address all its issues. Again, this comes, from ownership. I don't think that Ben was given a big budget to go out and get stuff. And so he chose the area that was the greatest concern, I suppose. But I'm on board with trading Nick Gonzales, packaging him as part of it, something to get a good hitting third baseman that can also field. And I guess Gonzales will be playing second next year. Maybe he won't, if there is games next year, maybe he won't be as bad at second. I don't know. Maybe he'll work hard in the offseason. Yeah. But I would really like to see this team get back to, because you got some decent hitters now. But I'd really like to see them put an emphasis on fundamental baseball and get players that can play defense. And, any business, not just baseball and sports, any business, supposedly you want to put people in a position to succeed. Yeah. And what do the Pirates do? They've got 5 guys every game playing out of position. Every game. That's not a position to succeed. Yes, you want them to do better. Nick Gonzales should have made that play. It's that simple. But he's not a third baseman. Yet he's playing third base every day.
Yeah, he's been playing there all year, and it's just hasn't gotten better. And what's funny,
good for him, he's broken out as a hitter. I mean, good for him.
He's figured it out offensively, but the defense, man, it's holding his game back. It's holding the team back at times.
It's holding the team back. Yeah,
there's been losses that have been on the defense.
No, there have been losses that have been solely on his errors, right? Yep. And there have been more of those. I don't know what his WAR is right now, but it's not as high as the 4 games that he personally, it was like his error in a couple of those Paul Skeens games, that sort of thing. So, he's got to be better, or he's got to not play at that position. And again, part of it that we weren't sure that Nick Gonzales was going to make the team this year. They went and got Lowe.
Yeah.
They identified Lowe quickly. We want a second baseman. We're not happy with our second base production. So we were pretty sure that, again, we weren't sure that Gonzales was going to break camp with the team. Right. And if we did, we thought it might be as a bench player. And he has hit and hit and hit and hit. And that's, something so refreshing and something we needed so much. But yeah, it's come at a cost. That defense has not been good.
I remember back in our spring training trip, we were like, who's going to win the second base job? Who's getting that last infield spot? Nick York, Nick Gonzales, or Jared Triolo?
Right, exactly.
Here we are. But I want to talk about the other Nick Gonzales mishap, another mishap on the bases for the Pirates today. Top of the seventh inning, he does lead it off with a single to the right fielder, Luis Lara. Ronnie Simon flies out. Ronnie Simon hasn't done much in these. This was his first game back, like starting-wise.
Right.
Hasn't looked great. We've seen him last year. I didn't expect much from Ronnie Simon, to put it lightly. No. So Jared Triolo comes in to replace Jacob Gonzales, is what it is, whatever. He would line out to Lara, and Nick Gonzales is on first base. And I look down at my phone for a second. I'm like, okay, Nick Gonzales, you're back on first base, whatever. Until I hear Greg Brown and Matt Cap saying, oh, they're challenging. And I look up, he's out.
He's out. Yeah,
he got doubled up, and that is great defense by Lara, catching Nick Gonzales off guard right there. But you have to get back to first base on that.
Yeah, I think it's less great defense and more of just bad base running by Nick Gonzales, who has been a terrible base runner. It hasn't been as bad this year. His past couple of seasons, I don't think anybody in baseball has got thrown out more trying to stretch a single into a double and picked off first and picked off third. The dude is just not very aware when he's on the bases. I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know what he's paying attention to, but it's certainly not what the pitcher's doing, not what the catcher's doing, and not what any outfielder who catches the ball is doing.
Yep. And that is exactly the type of stuff this team cannot afford to be having right now. Outs on the bases, giving up solo home runs, as I brought up earlier. Like they were saying on the broadcast, solo home runs don't kill you. Well, they killed you today, as the solo home run by Gary Sanchez was the game winner. They won it 3-2 at that point.
And ultimately, this team needs momentum. They need a rally. And you can get rallies when guys are being thrown out at third and guys are being picked off first and, doubled off at first, that sort of thing. I'm sorry. Like, every guy needs to be engaged. They need to be locked in. We can't make these kind of stupid mistakes that we keep making game after game after game, year after year after year. You would think by now the great analytical brain of Ben Cherington would say, I've sort of just said the bat will play and have ignored the defense. And man, that approach is really hurting us. Maybe we should try something else.
Exactly. And it's just crazy, Doug, with this team, the talent and stuff that they showed, especially offensively in that first half. The problem was, like you just said, they can't get momentum. We saw it basically all last month. Win, lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, lose. Every time they go on a winning streak of at least 3 games or more, they'd immediately follow it with the same exact number in a losing streak with 2 or more. Every time they drop below 500, they would get back to 500. Every time they go above 500, they'd drop back below. And I'll say this, I think the injuries have finally came back to bite them here. The offense is definitely missing O'Hearn right now, even though O'Hearn was slumping. They're missing Cruz. He would help against lefties a lot, and who knew we'd be saying that after last year against lefties. But he showed a lot of improvement against lefties. They've been missing him since he's been out. Connor Griffin would be a welcome addition against lefties. He's out.
That's 2 guys with power and speed. Yes. Right, you've lost 2 guys that can hit the ball over the fence and can also, stretch, go first to third, steal some bases, that sort of thing. So yeah, it hurts. And like I said, Mangum came up and has started and has done a great job, but he's cooling off a little, and he certainly doesn't have the power that Cruz might. Yeah. And Valdez kind of came up and, not playing the same position, but sort of made up the difference for what Connor Griffin, and more exceeded what Connor Griffin was doing. But now he's cooled off, and it's like, yeah, you need to get a couple of these guys back. But more importantly, man, they need to play better baseball, right? They just can't do the stupid stuff. Like, you're going to get overmatched by a pitcher sometimes. That's fine, but don't get picked off first base. Don't get thrown out at third. Don't let a easy grounder eat you up. I mean, it's like really like somebody should be calling a team meeting. Somebody should know, Jim Leland needs to come in and turn over a table or something and say, hey, man, like this is not how we're going out. We might not be good enough to win. We might not be good enough to make the playoffs, but we're not just going to lay down like we have been.
Exactly. And you would hope at least one of these veterans in there, a Brandon Lowe, a Brian Reynolds has been there for years. And what's crazy is Brian Reynolds has been on this team forever. He's done so much for this team. He's yet to make the playoffs, and this is the closest he will get to the playoffs, I fear, this team and what it was. Be in there and talk in the clubhouse. Do something.
Yeah.
Wake them all up.
Do something out of character, right? Brian Reynolds is an even-keeled, mellow guy. Yeah. So if he were to stand up and make a speech, I think people would listen. They'd be like, holy cow, this dude who just kind of, just takes it one day at a time is fired up. Let's get fired up. It should be important to Brian Reynolds to end he's got the longest streak in the league of games played without making a playoff appearance.
Yep. It's just like they all look asleep. And that's the negative from watching from a fan perspective. Like this game, they allowed 5 runs, and that should be enough to hopefully come back in a game. I'm not as mad at the pitching today. The offense has been abysmal this entire.
No, we used to give up. There were times this year we'd give up some runs in the first couple innings. We'd like, but we still have a chance because this offense can score. I was nervous when it was 1-0. I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
it's going to be hard, And
we haven't felt that way since last year. Remember, last year you were down 1-0, and you have Alexander Canario in the lineup every day. It's like, this game's over. Now it's like, they can come back here.
Yeah, right. This isn't the Sawinski, G1 Bay, Alexander Canario, 3-4-5, situation, right? It's like you got some hitters now, but they've all slumped. They've all collectively slumped, and somebody somehow needs to do. I mean, a bunch of people need to do something. They just need to get locked in, man. They just look so lifeless. It's so frustrating. If they were busting their ass, kind of, and you saw this sort of intensity, it'd be a little easier to take, but it looks like they've just checked out. And I know, I don't like to be that guy that's, look at the look on his face and his body language. Like, we don't know what's going on in their heads. I hate that kind of stuff. Just because a guy yells and screams doesn't mean he's any more fiery than the guy that's quiet or anything like that. But this team just looks listless. I mean, it's terrible. It's like, hey, we're in the dog days of summer and we're just going to play out the string. And then, we're going to go play golf.
It's what we've been used to as fans. That's what we're watching right now.
And it's
we just want to see a team with a pulse and a fight.
Yeah.
And they've lost that fight. They haven't had that fight we've seen since they lost to the D-backs last week when they came all the way back. And that game, when they lost that game, that's when a lot of life, I think, got sucked out of the team. They come all the way back, and then ever since, they're 2-6 on this road trip.
Yeah.
Like losses like that are going to sting. And I fear that loss and a lot of these losses on this road trip are going to make PNC Park a rowdy place this weekend on the negative side of things. And
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some planes flying overhead
for the first time this year. That's a new record.
So some banners. Right.
And
so we've got the Mets, and then we go to Miami, and then Boston. I mean,
games.
The schedule's not getting any easier for a little bit. Yeah,
and it's crazy. Like before we wrap this up, I wonder what Luke Weaver's thinking. He's probably like, I wish I could have got traded to the Brewers or something else.
Yeah.
Like,
why
am I here?
What a bunch of losers, right?
I thought I got out of the losing in New York, and now we're here. But Pirates lose it 5-2. Before we go, if you want to go to our friends at FanDuel, I was intrigued by this. I was like, wonder what the odds are if this Pirates team is making the playoffs. Right now, Doug, I told you in the pre-show that is, plus 710 to make the playoffs still. FanDuel, the odds are getting a little worse.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not enough of a... so you're looking for value when you're gambling. It's not enough of a value because more than likely, I would say they're not making the playoffs, right? That seems like, and to put up 100 to just only win 710, when you'd say there's a 95% chance it's not going to happen. Now I need better value. They need to bump that up to like 1,500. And, maybe I'll just take a flyer on it at that point.
This Pirates offense needs to feed Bucko Mike. He thinks we won. He says #raise it. I'm sorry, Bucko Mike. There will be no sandwiches today. And hopefully the sandwiches can make a return this weekend. Doug, It's been fun ranting with you. It's been fun ranting with the chat. This team's in trouble. They got to figure it out fast.
Yep, Nathan, you drew the short straw and got stuck with me today. Nobody else wanted to do this show. So thank you. Thank you for joining me.
I got caught out of the bullpen as punishment.
Yeah, you must have pissed somebody off because they made you do a show with me on a Thursday afternoon. So I don't know what you did, but whoo. Yeah, it was. The chat is always great. Michael B, thank you again for all the super chats. Thank you all you people in the chat for engaging with us. Hey, let's go get them tomorrow.
Yeah, and they won't have an off day until Monday. This stretch of 14 straight days is almost over. They are almost at an off day. Make sure to leave a like on the video, comment down below, and then subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And we will see you next time. Let's go Bucks, and have a good one, everyone.
Let's go Bucks.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.